Hello YouTube, been a minute since we had a video. Still working, doing paint stuff, models, whatever. I've moved, getting ready to move again and get remarried, so I don't know when the next video will probably come out, but here's one anyway. Today we have a Pennsy E8 in Brunswick Green to do. So stand by and hang on, because here we go. So here we are. Like I said, we're going to be doing the Pennsy Railroad E8 in Brunswick Green. So you'll need a body shell, of course, a reference photo, decals. I use microscale decal for the bulk of what I do, just because they're really super thin, and when you touch them with Walther's Solvaset, they sink right into the paint and they look like they're painted on. They're gorgeous when it's finished. And if you go over that with I like a 50-50 gold gloss dull coat mix, and it makes for a really nice, everything just disappears into the paint. Second, X-Acto knife with sharp blade. I like to use the tweezers with the needle point for handling teeny tiny decals. You need just a regular brush, a saucer, some distilled water, and then I use a scale ruler to cut out my decals. Basically the idea is not to waste decals as much as possible. Alright, here we go. I like to pre-cut out a lot of my decals. I think it saves a little time when all you got to do is pick, put in the water, pick, put in the water, put on your model, and just makes simpler. And these are cutters, so I've previously done a set already. With microscale, you get a layout of when they put their reference materials together, where the stripes go, the numbers, the name, all that stuff. So pretty good bunch of decals, and it never hurts to have your reference photo with you. So you're going to be off to my left side while I'm doing this. Anybody has one of these little cradles, well worth their money, but get them at most hobby shops or order them online. Some of these I've cut out from previous projects. So I've got the nose chevrons and stripes done. Next, we're going to cut out the side stripes. And it is teeny tiny work. And I think most of you already know, but in case there's some that don't tune in to watch this video, this green mat is what they call a self-healing cutting mat. This I think I got from Hobby Lobby, but I think I've seen them at Michael's. some of your hobby shops will have them. But I would rather cut up this thing than my desk. And it's kind of an expensive sit-to-stand desk, so I really don't want to cut it up if I can help it. I don't remember what it cost exactly, but well worth the bucks. Let's see, I should have one more. So that should be the stripes done. And for those that don't know, this was an older set of decals, like still in the blue packaging from Microscale. So I wasn't sure if these would just break up once they hit the water, but I clear coated them with Tester's gloss coat, and it's just enough to hold all this together. It'll still melt down into the paint. It'll look and be just fine. So a lot of these outfits will tell you you've got to buy special decal coatings, savers, whatever the name is. Tester's gloss coat will do the same stuff for you. All right. That's for a different thing. I'm going to save these. Hopefully I can get another number out of it. But if we can't, we can't. This is a for me project. I think I'm going to flip this on eBay. You always see the maroon, Pennsy maroon. You very seldom see the Brunswick Green as delivered scheme. So, and it's just for a body shell. So if you want to pop the body shell off of a chassis and want to have something a little different from everybody else, this is, I think, the way to go. I'm not sure what to list this body shell for. I've seen kind of some stupid prices on Evil Bay lately. I've got a set of BNSF Heritage Challenge coins on there for what I paid for them, and nobody's buying. So everybody's hunting for a bargain, which I understand. I mean, I would too, but I'm not going to let stuff go for less than what I have into it. So, and I use the squares to keep track of my stuff. It's very rare you get more than about 2 locomotives out of a set of decals. That's the little keystone for each side of the locomotive. So now we got to cut out Right there is the F stencil for the front of the locomotive. And again, I put everything in a square. And I don't know how much of internet people use, but I love this Fallen Flags railroad photos, and especially this railroadpicturearchives.net. Just a wealth of photo information. Railroad Picture Archives just kind of changed up their site just a little bit, so within the last month it's a little difficult to find stuff again, but it's not terrible. So we're looking for PRR. Pennsylvania, and then we'll go to model list, and we'll roll down to EMD, and we're looking for E8s. And this is a picture of every E8 that they ever had. So what I'm going to do is look at my sheet of numbers versus what numbers available and see if I have something on my sheet of decals that is together. 42. I got a 41. 41. A 48. Nope. We got a 50. Well, we got 58. Or no, we got a 58. How about a 5827? Nope. Well, that number's it's together on the sheet. How about a 5706? Let's see. 5706. Ooh. And when you see that, that is the after it was repainted. That was 60 in the late 50s. Mid to late 50s they repainted this stuff, I think. But as delivered, this was Brunswick Green. So, I mean, we can use that number. I kind of would like a more side shot. And there's somebody got cute and painted it into Southern. That's kind of neat. So, I'll go up here to the three dots. I'm using Chrome. Go to zoom and turn up my zoom. And now I've got a really big picture. So that's what I'll use that for. And dual monitors has a very awesome advantage. We'll go there, we'll go there. Fallen flags. We'll scroll down. Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. I think number 3. PRR. And then we'll go to model list view. And we'll scroll down to EMD and E8. And we'll look for 5706. I think there was a couple of different shots of her. There we are. That's what I was looking for. Now I've got an engineer side and I've got a conductor side, or fireman side would be in this case. So we got our pictures, but we're going to do that color, the as delivered scheme. So 5706 is together on my decals. So we're going to use 5706. And I cut just a little bit wide and long of my target number. This is going to be about the last I get use out of this set of decals. So we will take that and we will set it in that square. And we will come get this number out. So that's that square using for the numbers. I see my number in the side, but holy cow. I think what we'll do, oh, that didn't work out so well. Okay. I don't know what those decals went on. Not something I'm worried about. I'm going to keep probably the white letters for now. I think I've got everything off of this that I need. Oh, and I also took some paper towels and cut into strips to wick off water and decal setting solution when we get that far. Also, to prevent fingerprints, glovies. Excuse me, I'll blow my nose. I'm not sniffling and sneezing. Alrighty. Let's get our model down. Get the cradle. And let's get some decals in the water. I try to just work on one side at a time. Stripes are not my favorite thing, so that's what I tend to work on first. But, you know. Alright, here we are back at it. Still waiting on the decals to soften up. Make sure now all the dust is off of it. This is like the third bottle in 30 years of Solvaset that I've used. There's all kinds of others. I think Microscale, Microsol, Microset, Decal Magic. There's just a whole host. It's whatever you're comfortable with. I got started on Solvaset and it's just what works for me. I've had some decals that I've actually had to glue on. That was neat. They were such a bad decal that they wouldn't stick. So, take your paintbrush and wet your decal so you can move it around. And this is just a rough get it into place kind of motion at the moment. And I'll leave a little bit of overhang for back here on the back. And the idea is they put the stripes over the windows, and it was closer to the top of the window than it was the bottom, so there'll be just a little bit of extra gap towards the bottom of the window. And I struggle with getting stuff straight. Take your paper towel, this very so carefully at the edge of the decal, wick off the water, the extra water, and that should be just enough to hang over this back edge for the stripes to come around and look like what the railroads did. So that'll need a minute to set. I hate to get too far ahead of my work. We go 5706. So while we wait on that, let's get these out. See if we can find us a 5706. How about a 570? Close enough. I cut the 0 out for something else. But that's all right. And there's our 6. Not really a fan of working with gloves on, but it sure keeps the fingerprints out of your models. Okay. That might be the last of that one for a minute. Okay. All right, that's cut out. I think that should be set enough. turn this just a little so you can see what I'm doing. Now it's just going to be a matter of lining stripes up. That's going to be perfect. So, now that's got to dry a whole lot longer. So I'll get back to you in just a minute. Alright, it's dried a little bit. Now we're going to throw on a little Solvaset. And this just has a brush on it, and you just brush it on. And that is a set, don't even look at it kind of thing for a little bit. So, catch you here in a few minutes. Alright, have a look. It's setting down real good, so. And with these clear coat and these extra, they will take just a little bit more to solve a set down. But they'll still have that painted on look when they get done. Alright, now it's time to lay this on there. This is about the most interesting part of this. Hey, quite a bit of it is going to overhang because I don't want to cut it. Fucking wind. Oops. My bad. It's like a hurricane just went through here. Alright, we'll let that settle for a minute. Alright, we got that stuff set. Let's move on to the other side, shall we? Ooh, not upside down. No, no, no. Wet the decal down real good so we can move it around. Leave a little overhang over the back. It's not perfectly center with the windows. Wick off the extra water. That'll help keep it from moving around. Boy, that's just about as straight as you're gonna get there. Alright, okay, let's grab this other stripe, and then we're gonna pull it basically from the front to the back and match up with that. If I get it picked up right. Gotta do a little adjustment. There we go. And we'll move it back in place. And we'll let that set for just a little bit. And as you can see, stripes are on. They look straight. And now we'll just let that dry for just a little bit. So this will be the same thing as the other side. We'll solve and set it all down. And we'll let that dry. Alright, we got the side stripes dry. Let's put on her name so she knows who she is. And let's put on a, that's a big one. We need one of these. We'll need one of these eventually. We'll need those, which that is an F stencil, by the way. In case you're wondering, I'm not losing my marbles. It actually says something on there. Anybody else out there have railroad ambience going on while you're model railroading or painting? Got a collection of train noise CDs and harbor sounds, and we just all throw them in there too. Get them cooking. I have harbor sounds. Used to be a guy on eBay that had harbor sounds that were recorded on a wire recorder. I always kind of like those. And he has train sounds of that too. I don't remember the guy's name, but it's kind of fun. Alright, what do we got here? We got the, it goes to the V. Between the L and the V on this side. Alright, where's the S? Just back just a bit. I think that's that. Let's get us a Small Keystone logo. Alright, let's get us a number. Okay, now let's get us one of these teeny tiny little numbers. Where did that go? Oh, isn't that something? I know it flipped down into the car body somewhere. Oh, it's right there. Nope, that wasn't it. I don't know where it went. But it's gone now. Oh, no, it ain't. It was gone with the wind. Alrighty. Yeah, let's get us a big Keystone logo. Put on the front, shall we? We're going to have to wick some of the water off of it because I don't want to sit still. There. These number boards aren't lit, so I don't have to worry about using see-through number boards. Those are, I'm putting on number board blanks. I've used those, but there are those black ones right there. Makes the number boards look much, much neater. Of course, it moves. Alright. I think we need some door sill plates. And there you are. Let that dry for just a little bit and we'll solve set it. All right. All right, that's all solva-setted, and we'll let that dry for just a little bit. So pick back up, working on the other side. And when in doubt, get out your scale ruler. Get out a little keystone logo. Goes between the Y and the L. out our number. This is why I like needle point tweezers. Sure makes this job easy. And we gotta bleed off a little water. Okay, we gotta get our F stencil. It got dried out, so. And just because I'm anal retentive, I like to clean up my tray, excuse me. Okay. Them dry for a minute, and I forgot to cut out a decal earlier. There, it's on that one. Yep, there's some on there. Okay. Builder plates in N scale. Friend of mine says, don't worry about that little stuff. You don't need to put that on there, but I'm one of those people. It's a detail, and details matter. Because that's just how I am. hopefully we'll get this done here in just a little bit and we can go to the paint booth, clear coat it. Gorgeous, looking gorgeous. I gotta go look at the picture. I don't know if you can see this or not, but right there is the builder's plate. And if you look, I don't know if you can see it on the screens, but there is no builder plate in those Fleet of Modernism schemes, so they omitted it after that. But I know in the as delivered scheme they had them. So we will have them. Just like that. And you're probably looking at this going, why'd you put the stripes over the windows? Because that's how they did it. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. So, there's a builder's plate on that. And in case you're wondering, these Kato E8, and I think a lot of the glass in the F units too, this glass falls out a lot. So what I did was took just a little teeny tiny dab of RTV, just clear silicone, and put right here in the center of the window, and then pushed the window in and smooshed it down. So that silicone's holding that glass in place, but it's just such a small dab that you can just pop it out with a little teeny tiny screwdriver. But works great. Alright, let's get this solver set in. Alright, and we'll set that up there like that to dry. Alright, well, that's all Salva setted down for the most part. We're going to transition over to the paint booth, but I also wanted to mention another reason I stick these window glasses in with a little bit of silicone is because of this decal is actually stuck to the windows. So I don't ever want the windows to come out because it'll screw up the decal. So that's another reason I do that. So we'll flip over here to the paint booth. the window. It's just a pool noodle. Close the window, and now I've got a vent that goes outside. Well, everybody, thanks for watching tonight. I know it's probably not been real interesting, but try to get some more videos going. I know with my job, it's kind of hard to get into the paint booth, and then when I'm in the paint booth, I'm swamped with work. But if you got any ideas or things you want to see for painting stuff, leave a message in the comments, and I'll try my best to accommodate. Thanks. Catch you later.